That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Good. When you say things are fine, you're fucked, right?
It's fine. No, it's not really fine.
I'm fine, dear. Oh, then you know you're in trouble, right?
Right. Exactly. All right, I'm going to close out some crap. Close it out, close it out, close it out. Let's see. I think everything unimportant is closed out.
Did anybody respond to our, giveaway?
From last week? No, unfortunately. Okay. Oh, wrong person. Okay, I'll try and I'll just ring her and see if she pops on. Okay. Don't want to share screens. What am I doing? Why can't I? Okay, we're gonna add her. Okay, here we go. Done.
Shall I give you the warnings, or is that going to give you more anxiety? We're at 2 minutes.
Oh God! Oh God! So
You guys are so nervous about it. I'm the one that's trying to make this cohesive on the Twitch, and it's like, that's what the cues give me anxiety.
Speaking of that, we need to figure out how to do a musician. But we'll talk about that later. I don't want to freak you out.
It's not going to work on this format as far as I can tell.
So, I don't know. Does it say that it's calling her? I can't get this thing to open up. Oh, here it goes. Come on. I will try again. Canon. Add. Here we go. Maybe. Nope, unavailable. I don't know. It's her picture and everything, so it's definitely the right person.
Okay.
Do we want to just... Hello?
Hello. Okay, I'll just double check I'm talking to her in Discord here.
Oh.
No, she says she's not seeing anything. That's so strange. Okay.
Really strange. Maybe she can find me.
Okay. Yeah.
X Bailey. Bailey.
Which Bailey?
X. Like the X-Men.
X. Okay.
Like X-rated.
Gotcha. I gave it a try. Maybe she has messages blocked from people who aren't friends.
Oh, yeah, maybe. I don't know. Let's see. I even messaged her and said who I am, so she wouldn't be freaked out. Rachel, you there?
The intro music's on.
Oh, it is? I can't hear it this time.
It's there.
Yeah. Okay, so get ready to talk. Is that what you're saying?
Yep.
Okay.
Can I bring in people into the call?
Sure.
Okay, I'll see if I can do that. Oh, it says 4 participants.
It says 3 of 4 in call on my side.
Okay, Alan, you ready? Give me a second.
Yep.
Let me unmute us and go.
Hello and welcome to the 3rd episode of If This Goes On, Don't Panic, what we are now calling the Quarantine Club. At least, that's what I'm calling it. Today we have JRH Lawless, author of Always Greener, some giveaways, and first we should have C.L. Cannon on. She's a USA Today best-selling author, and her most recent book is Once Upon a Fairy Tale Night, which is an anthology. However, we're having a little bit of trouble connecting with her. So, while we wait, how is everybody doing now in our third week of the show, third week of quarantine, third week plus, right? What has changed for you all? What's going on? How you feeling about it?
Well, since last week, remember I said that we were having a bit of a drama with getting the, government money. But Thursday, it all came through for us. So, and I understand that a bunch of other Canadians found a bunch of extra money that they weren't expecting because they delivered it all at once. So, we're doing okay up here. What's changed is that I'm not stretching the leftovers quite as far because I was like, we're getting close to running out of stuff here, but no, we're good. So that's good news.
Oh, that's good. That's good. I know as far as the money goes here, funny, Rachel and I were just talking about this earlier today. Some people have started getting it, and it's
good
been
news.
Well, Rachel and I were actually saying this exact same thing. Like, I really wasn't expecting anybody to get anything, honestly. With Trump, I don't trust anything.
Yeah, I hear you. You thought maybe, he's putting up a big smoke screen, but there's going to be like 16 regulations that nobody can actually meet the requirements of.
Yeah, or something, you know what I mean? Or maybe it just wouldn't even show up, or he would tell the IRS not to pay people. You know what I mean? Something
Not
like that.
Nice. Would not.
Yeah. But I have heard my sister's husband got his money just yesterday, or this morning, I think. So apparently people are starting to get it. So that'll be nice for everybody out there who is having employment issues.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
I'm glad that some money has started making it to people. It's good to know.
Yeah. And I know the family here, we're, like I said before, we're all a bunch of introverts. So, staying in all the time is not a huge and horrible thing for us. Really,
right?
Not a lot has changed. I'd say the only thing that's really changed is we don't really see my mom too much because she used to watch the kids. We don't see the neighborhood kids all that much. And that's really it. I mean, I don't miss going into the office. And I worked from home a little bit prior to that anyway, prior to the whole quarantine thing. So, I don't know. Just kind of hanging in there. Everybody here is emotionally stable, other than today. But, everyone gets a little overwhelmed. Rachel, are you laughing at me?
Yeah. Jamie's rolling around here like a tidal wave in a chalice. He gets a little stir crazy, right? So he's getting a little stir crazy. And this is, otherwise we're all pretty much introverts too, right? Except that he likes to do, go out and do things and have experiences. And, right now there's not a lot of that going on. And he has no work to take him away from the tedium of the house, right? So he's, smoking a lot of pot and watching a lot of YouTube videos and getting pretty damn sick of it.
Nice. That's what my 20s would have been if there were YouTube videos when I was 20.
Right.
I mean, I probably said some stuff there I shouldn't have said in public. Whoops.
Hey, I'm covered. You deal with it yourself, man. I'm in Canada. It's legal here.
Oh, man. So, any word from CL?
I see nothing, unfortunately, from Courtney here on my end, and I'm not sure. It says she's in the call from my perspective, or at least that she's one of the participants. She's pinged you. I pinged her. She sent you a request.
Really?
She says, looking on my Discord, Technology, you gotta love it.
I did not.
I make no apologies. This is a live episode, folks, and we're using technology we do not normally use, right? And trying to make it work all at once, and Skype is notoriously unreliable, as everybody knows. So we might just have to, like, you know, fill in the gap here. I don't know. And I feel bad for Courtney because it would be really cool if we had her on. She's fun. She's a really great person. She does a lot of stuff for people in the indie writing community. She is the force behind Fiction Atlas Press, which has been producing best-selling anthologies. You know, they're really, really awesome stuff that she's doing. Some of them include, like Beyond the Mask, Counterclockwise, Once Upon a Fairy Tale Night. She's, different genres of science fiction and fantasy, and she's a lot of fun to work with. She does professional editing services, and she's just nice. She's just a nice person who likes to help people out, right? Huh. So she does all kinds of charity anthologies where all the profits go to a non-profit group, right? You know, and I miss her. I haven't talked to her in a long time. So I was really kind of looking forward to having her on.
Yeah. Oh, that's a bummer. I'm seeing multiple CL cannons here, but maybe what we should do then is we should move on to our next guest, get him on, and then we can work on getting her on in the meantime.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Sounds like a plan? Okay. Sorry, audience. We're doing the best we can here. All right. Let's get our next guest on here then. So anybody have anything interesting to talk about while I'm doing this? Because I can't think and talk at the same time.
I don't think I've heard much about what's going on in Rachel's life since last week.
I found out that I am a hermit.
You like being at home by yourself and not having to go anywhere.
I do. I mean, like your partner, going out and having experiences. I like that about life, but I am let me just stay at home. I'm okay. You know, I've had people ask me, hey, you want to do stuff? And I'm like, do you want to, I know that we're not supposed to necessarily do stuff right now, but do you want to just get out of the house for a little bit? I'm like, no, absolutely not. I am A-okay right here where I'm at. So.
I hear that. I think we might have Mr. JRH Lawless on there.
Do we?
We do.
We do?
Yeah. Whoa.
Or I'm speaking to God, one of the two.
Oof. How's it going, guys?
I'm an atheist.
Yet.
That's a first.
How you doing? We haven't
How's it going, guys?
It's going pretty well. Well, you know, we're having some issues with our first guest, so we thought we would move on with you. You know,
yes,
Skype, I should say.
I'll try to fill the CL gap, but no promises.
No worries. So why don't you give us a little background about yourself, you know, and kick this whole thing off.
Right. Well, I'm JRH Lawless. I'm a science fiction writer from Atlantic, Canada. And I published a fair amount of short fiction, all set in the same universe. But my debut novel has just released there recently. Perfect timing, obviously. So that's Always Greener. That's with Uproar Books. They're a really awesome small press out of Nashville. And they've really done an amazing job taking this and giving it the treatment it deserves, even despite the the circumstances, which are less than ideal. But we've been doing relatively well. It's science fiction humor. So Always Greener is 100% hope punk. I mean, I was listening to that to your interviews, obviously all of them, but re-listening to the one with Alexandra Rowland and her definition of hope punk and her description of it, I was just in awe because it's exactly putting words to what I was trying to do when I set out to write Always Greener. It was one manuscript that then got divided and fleshed out into two full novels, Always Greener and the sequel, The Rude Eye of Rebellion, which comes out this fall, also from Uproar Books. And it really put words to what I was trying to do with those books 10 years ago when our second daughter was born and I was writing it in a little cottage in rural England.
Huh. A lot to go on there. So many things to say. I don't know which order to say them in. First of all, I want to say Uproar Books I had not heard of until you came along, and just so the audience knows, Diane, JR, and I, and Kat also, we're all on a podcast together for SIFWA. Like, I don't know, like 6 months ago. Or
it might come out someday. Someday, hopefully.
We volunteered to do another podcast that has not happened yet because so many technical issues on my side, right? And it's I just, to be honest, I got discouraged with the second one because there were just so many things that kept running into it, right? Like first it was issues with, the board changed hands at SIFWA, and so as is wont to do when that happens, certain information got sent to some people and not other people. And then, so, there was all kinds of, issues about getting onto the account. And then once that was sorted out, then my computer broke down because it had a major virus. And, and it's just been a circus from there. But I finally got the computer back up and running. I have all the information I require, right? So I should be getting that going again soon, right?
Well, I think I speak for all of us when I say we're definitely on board.
Awesome. He was a lot of fun when we did the podcast. I had a great time, right? Like it was really cool. Like, so definitely I'd like to have you back. And that's The Panel, by the way, which is a video podcast that we do on the SIFWA YouTube channel, which, as you'll see, has not happened for like 6 months. So, and that's why. It's totally my fault, and I'm sorry.
We'll get there. I mean, the one we recorded was about, hard science fiction versus soft science fiction, so it's not like it has an expiry date on it.
That's a fact right there, yeah.
So did that go live, or did it was just live and then never recorded, or what happened?
I ended up having to record it, and a part of the problem was that I couldn't figure out how to get back on the channel to upload it. I know this is so bad, but this is what happens to volunteer organizations, friends. They're all like this, right? When it's a volunteer-run organization, there's always little issues, right? But I've got the information I need. I just haven't had the chance to do it yet because it was on my broken down computer, which is now not broken. So
we'll get there. Don't worry.
We'll get there. It'll go up, I hope, sometime in the next couple of weeks. So
okay, interesting.
Brilliant. Perfect timing with the virtual nebula coming as well.
Yes, I'm intending to go to that.
Oh yeah, I've signed up. I signed up the day it released because I was ecstatic about actually being able to attend.
Yeah, I went. Go ahead, Diane.
I don't have the link. Send it to me, guys. I would like to go if it isn't all sold out already.
I know there was a cap, but I think it was relatively generous, so I think it should be okay.
Awesome.
Oh, there's a cap. I didn't realize there's a cap. I should probably hurry up and sign up for that.
It's I think it's at least like 1,000 people or something. It's not, but hopefully it should be okay.
Okay, cool.
Okay. I went in 2018. I talk about this all the time, but it was definitely a life-changing experience for me because I just walked into this room of all these authors that are famous to me, and it wasn't like you had to wait in line to talk to any of them. You just had to walk. If you knew who they were, you could just walk up to them and be like, "Hey, so and so, I think you're awesome," and just start a conversation with them. It was so easy, and I did a lot of podcasts at that time on my old podcasts.
That's so cool.
It was so cool, and that was my first con that I ever went to too. Was the 2018 Nebulas, so it kind of killed all cons for me after that.
Well, we'll see how that translates to the virtual forum there in May, but hopefully it should be cool. It looks like they got a great organization set up.
I am a little worried that they're going to lose kind of that feel of I don't know. I don't like the feel of being there in the same room, of like that, of the there-ness, if that makes any sense, or that spatial kind of feeling of I'm sitting across the table from you, you're sitting across the table from me, we're talking about whatever, you know, or we're having a beer together, or whatever. You know what I mean? Just like hanging out.
Well, there was talk about the bar conning side of things possibly taking place in an MMO, and we are on Twitch actually, so it's appropriate. So, you know, I actually made a few suggestions.
Nice. I had not heard of that, so I'm kind of excited about that now. So, let's steer it back to you. I wanted to mention Uproar Books really quick. I had not heard of them until you.
Yeah. Shout out to Rick Lewis, the editor there. He's really, and all of the authors are just absolutely, you know, overjoyed with the work he's been putting in.
That's awesome. That's great. And then I found out that they're friends with my friend, or I should say, the podcast friends, Dreamforce.
Definitely.
So I was really surprised by that. It's small world. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's a bundle going on with some of the Uproar books and the Dreamforge issues.
Yes, and I was about to mention that too. Oh, and I was looking at the books. I'm like, which ones should I get? You know. And then I always go to online to buy some books, and then I look over here to my right where my read pile / review pile is, and I'm just like, oh god.
Creeps up on you.
Yeah, exactly right. So, did Uproar approach you, or did you approach Uproar? How did that go exactly?
I was very lucky because, I mean, the Always Greener and Blue Dye Rebellion, which again were initially one massive, messy manuscript, which was my first sort of proper 10 years ago fling at producing something novel length. And it was, you know, the elements were there, but structurally it was a mess. And I was really lucky after, you know, putting, you know, all the work I could in at my own level, you know, with awesome events like Pitch Wars, with, you know, trying to get all the resources I could on my own, querying agents. Now, obviously, I have my amazing agent, Marisa Corvicero, but that was after I got the deal with Uproar Books. But at the time, so in the query trenches with agents, trying to get the accompaniment there, and getting interest on the ideas in the book. But obviously, when we got to that stage of, you know, going to read the partials or the full requests, then it was like, actually, no, this isn't ready. And I was, and it's true, it wasn't ready. And I was really lucky to, when Uproar Books just started up, to be able to obviously submit to them without agents, because, you know, small presses are often open to that. And that Rick came back with a really detailed revise and resubmit letter. That was really what was the major stroke of luck that I got to, you know, it's about meeting the right people and getting into touch at whatever form with the right people at the right time, who made that, you know, sent me that revise and resubmit, took the time to send me that. And obviously I you know, took that completely on board, put all the work in over the months, sent that back, and then I got the book deal on that basis. Yeah.
That is cool. Right on. Congratulations. I can't wait to read it, actually. I'm a big fan of science fiction humor. I don't think that, I mean, it's hard to do, for one thing, right? And there's, as a result, there's not enough of it, right? So, without telling the whole plot to the audience, sort of what's the basic premise?
The premise is it's based around a future 2070s reality show in this sort of, obviously, world where everything is connected. A reality show where the whole concept of reality show, which is the basis of the whole sort of corporate entertainment industry, has played out. So they end up at the extreme logic of it, which is, well, let's have a reality show where we look for the biggest, the worst, the person who has the worst life of the 2070s. So contestants compete to prove that they're the biggest victims of future corporate worlds.
That's hilarious, actually.
Yep. And so the main character is the host of the show, who is this sort of middle-aged, he's a weatherman at the start of the book, very idealistic, very humanist, in his outlook. He's a philosophy student originally in background. He ends up as a weatherman because that's what there is when you're a philosophy major, and and he gets the chance to host the show, and in his idealistic but also still at the beginning of the book at least very corporate formatted outlook. He thinks, well, this is my chance, my big chance to finally do a bit of good in the world, make a difference, to be in a position to help people, all these people who are the candidates who are, who want to share their situation and make the world know their lives. This is my chance to help them, right? So he goes into it, and then a big part of the conflict, the tension behind the book, obviously, without going into it too much, because the realities of all these different lives that he gets directly immersed into, just like everybody in the world, because all the candidates have to have these, as part of the show, these implants, these lenses, which broadcast their lives, on a live feed 24/7 to anybody in the world who wants to tune in, and they then vote on who has it really bad or who maybe isn't that big a victim after all. And that's the name of the show. Then is the grass is greener. So it's reversing that. Yeah.
So I think I have to ask a question, and this is probably a question that all satirists get, especially in science fiction. But why the satire angle? Because I feel like there's not a lot of humor satire in science fiction. There's a lot of serious political satire, but there's not a lot of that.
For sure.
Haha, this is hilarious. You know what I mean?
For sure. I mean, a lot of it's very dark humor, and that's the punk side of punk punk is very, very strong. It starts out, particularly it's the start of a series, and it starts out as really, honestly, just like a projection of where we are today. And the humor, obviously, in my mind, is essential to, in a very sort of Terry Pratchett, Douglas Adams, through wordplay and also through ridiculous, absurd situations, but that really aren't that absurd when you see where we are today. In fact, we have a contest going, just started yesterday, on Twitter, the hashtag Live Your Worst Life contest, where we're inviting people, because we're all, if we're lucky enough to be stay at home there currently, and we're not needed on the front lines of fighting COVID. We have the time, and it's probably a good time, I figured, to remind everybody, for us all to remind ourselves, it could be a lot worse than having to stay at home. So that's the point of hashtag Live Your Worst Life is, with prizes and gift cards and signed books and so on. And the grand prize, actually, which is getting your name and your story included in the sequel, because I've left a part in the manuscript of the Rude Eye Rebellion that comes out this fall for the contest winner. To share their stories, yeah.
That's one thing that Rachel doesn't have to worry about, because her online handle is going to be in Zigzag Clayborn's
I heard
next
that.
book, apparently.
Absolutely heard that. Yes.
That's silly.
That's awesome. I love it.
Yes, immortalized.
That's an interesting point about how things. If we're lucky enough to be working from home, you're right. There are people out there who have it a lot worse, right? I was struck by. I don't know. I watch a lot of progressive media, like I keep saying. I don't know why I keep bringing this up on this podcast, except that perhaps, it's about resistance too. And so I'm getting in my resistance here, right? And, okay, so there was a conversation where, so Ellen said something about it's starting to feel like prison here working at home because I've been wearing the same clothes for 10 days and everybody here is gay, right? And then someone piped up with, basically bite me in your pampered ass, right? And, my daughter is working at a grocery store, right? She's terrified. I'm terrified. She can't come home because she might, potentially infect us, right? she has to work. It's terrible, right? And the producer of the Ellen Show comes back on and says, your daughter's a hero. To which she responded, no, my daughter is a slave to capitalism and a sacrifice demanded by the elites.
Yep. So not wrong.
Whew. I agree totally. And I'm glad that she had the gumption to do that, because when I get pissed off like that, my brain just melts and I can't do anything.
I could not have said it
written.
better. I compliment her for that. Yep.
Definitely.
I would have thought of it after the fact, and then I would have been mad about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's something like I would do too. Like, my brain melts, and then later, once it's recoagulated, I've been like, I should have said this. Damn it, I'm an idiot.
Yeah. That's what's good about writing.
I will go to these people. I do think of things at the time, right? But I'm never that good, right? I'm always like, and these are the many reasons why you are an absurd idiot listed in point form. That's how I tend to do
Oh, yeah.
So that was much better and so true, right? So
Yep.
Diane's definitely the hardcore warrior of this podcast. There's no doubt about that.
yeah, I'm the punk part here, man. I'm no punk.
Yeah.
I'm the laid back punk guy. That's me. I'm like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, this isn't D&D.
And then I
This
get
is
really
Shadowrun.
anxious.
Totally a Shadowrun.
Yeah,
We are living
exactly.
in. I know. I keep looking at this and I'm like, I read this book. I played this game. Here we are in the middle of this dystopian hell. If I'd been, reading about this in the 90s, I'd be like, oh, the world's never going to get that bad. Here we are. Here we are.
And that's exactly the whole point of my book, basically, is to say, even if it's set in the 2070s, it's today, essentially. And that's the starting point for what I call the series name is the general buzz heading onwards, is then to take that from that logical sort of transposition of where we are now, where we can take that to make things better, and what's at stake if we don't.
Awesome. Then I definitely have to read your book.
So I know you're a huge Terry Pratchett fan, and you write a column about Terry Pratchett for Tor.com, which is awesome.
I've been lucky enough to do that, yeah.
I don't know if I'm quite smart enough to completely read that.
There's nothing, no.
But what's a good? Can you give us a good Terry Pratchett quote that kind of summarizes or applies to what is going on?
Oh, well, I've got the perfect one for that, which is from my second Tor.com article. I mean, originally it's from Terry Pratchett, from The Truth, but I did quote it in my article about Terry Pratchett's political philosophy, which was the second article. And this one, so it's from The Truth. It's actually, funnily enough, Lord Vetinari, who is the tyrant. He's the absolute despot, ruler of Ankh-Morpork, and somebody says to him, I'm sure we can all pull together, sir. And he says, oh, I do hope not. Pulling together is the aim of despotism and tyranny. Free men pull in all kinds of directions.
Well done.
Perfect. I love it. And I got to tell you, I'm a recent... I don't want to say convert, but I've recently gotten into Pratchett, and I've only read 3 of his novels so far, but I'm starting to understand why people love him so much. And he's just so smart. Oh my god!
It's
So today our schedule was a little bit crazy. We had some problems getting Miss C.L. Cannon on, and we brought Mr. JRH on. Y'all have these initials that are making it hard.
Sorry, call me Jay. Call me Jay.
Jay, to bring Jay on, and so it's 5. Normally, what we would do is we would bring on the other guest, but because everything's really messed up today, so I have brought Miss C.L. Moore on here.
C.L. Cannon.
C.L. Cannon. I'm sorry, C.L. Moore. I was just talking about C.L. Moore.
Who is the main thing to read? But yes, anyway.
But Jay, I want you to stick around, hang out. Feel free to engage in conversation and
really, thank you.
Yeah. So, C.L. Cannon is now here with us.
Hello. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh, yeah, big time. You're breaking up quite a bit there.
If I can switch my connection.
That was a bit better.
Okay, well, while she's doing that, Jay, you're also...
Oh, no, go ahead.
You're also a lawyer in your day job, is that
Yes,
correct?
hence the pen name Lawless, obviously, because,
That's
started to
hilarious.
plan on carrying on.
Right, exactly.
I wondered if that was the case, yeah, for that why, yeah.
And it's also in your Twitter name, and for some reason, my version of Twitter hates you. I tried so many times to tag you
It's
and
all
stuff,
good.
and it just would not. You know how it's like when you type it in, and the little name comes up, and you click on it, and it would just not come up.
It's a lot of spaces, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. But as a lawyer, and while we're trying to get CL on, how do you see things changing based on what is happening? How do you see, I don't want to say things, I want to be more specific. How do you see our institutions changing because of the pandemic and the political fallout?
That's a hell of a question, because I'm currently in France. And what we've seen here, and it's been the same in Italy and in other places, is quite quickly a full confinement, but at the same time a system where a lot of elements, both from organization of sort of political local entities, organization of courts, which I've seen definitely, and also just basic public civil rights have definitely been impacted. I mean, it's become the norm now. Obviously nobody goes out. That's vital for COVID. Everybody fills out their permission slip that you have to fill out. There are fines if you don't have it. It's a very weird reality, and there's a lot of things, for good or for ill, but that will not be the same in terms of what we've grown used to in terms of civil liberties. That won't be the same anymore after this, that's for sure.
I found that a little disturbing myself. I watched, I'm old enough, I was an adult when 9/11 happened, right? And I watched our civil liberties be slowly degraded as dishonest actors took advantage of the crisis to do things like invade our privacy. And, and we have no privacy anymore, guys. Like, all the user agreements on all the apps say, yeah, we're entitled to use your information. And people keep fighting it, and people keep dodging it. Like Zuckerberg actually thinks that he's above the law. He said outright that he has no intention of appearing before all these commissions of different countries that, want to speak to him. He really thinks, it's welcome to Shadowrun, like you said, right? The corporations are running everything. They're the law now, at least they think they are, right? So,
and they are more and more.
I don't want to see that, right? I don't want to see that. And it was interesting because here in Canada, even there were things going on, right? Our government was trying to pass a bill to speed money out the door, and I get the reason for doing it, right? And basically, it said that they could, in a declaration of an emergency, spend money without having oversight, right? And I know it's at least in part motivated by the fact that, they're trying not to get people together. They were trying only to have quorum in order to get things done in Parliament. But immediately the two opposition parties rightfully jumped in and said, no, you can't do that, right? We're going to appoint ourselves the overseers of this, and then at least there's some oversight. And since they're completely different parts of the ideological spectrum, right? One's the Conservative Party and the other is our equivalent to Bernie Sanders, the Progressive
NDP,
Party.
Of course,
I was like, good job, guys. They were right on it. And the fact that they have to do that, right? Watch what your governments are doing right now, guys. Pay attention, because they're all doing stuff like this, and it's fine for the emergency, but there needs to be a check and a balance, right? Because otherwise everything will be an emergency, and the next thing you know, we'll have the Supreme Chancellor, right?
Yep. Or not even a Supreme Chancellor, and we'll have a corporate council like what I have in Always Greener. It's a complete, abnegation, or complete just, abdication even of actual people-driven political power because it's easier.
Right.
All right, everybody. I believe we have Courtney on now. Courtney,
Yes, I'm
there?
here. Can you guys hear me good?
You sound great.
Right.
Hello.
Awesome. Sorry about all the technical stuff.
No
I'm sure.
worries. It was bound to happen at some point with somebody, so it might as well have been you.
Exactly, I will take that for the team.
So, welcome
Thank
aboard.
you.
Do you have any comments on the political conversation?
Well, I'm a big Bernie Sanders supporter, and he just dropped out and endorsed Biden, so right now I'm kind of like down in the dumps. But
I hear ya. I'm disappointed too, and obviously I don't even get a vote, right? But I think of course he had no choice, right? So like Trump is worse. He's worse.
Yeah,
Right.
Put out there.
I mean, like, I don't know, I saw this political cartoon and I feel you, right? And it had a red button and a blue button, right? And it said, racist rapist who wants me to die in medical debt, right?
Uh-huh.
Racist rapist who wants me to die in medical debt. I'm like, oh my god, I don't know what I would do.
Wow.
Probably, what I would do if I were in this. Don't take this advice, but as what I would do is put Bernie Sanders on the ticket anyway, because screw you guys, right? Because you can put anybody you want on the ticket, right?
Right.
And
It's such a delicate issue, though, but yeah.
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 And I get why, right? I get it's because those independent voters, right, often swing the balance between the party, right, and the base behind the Republicans is really strong. No, I probably actually would hold my nose and vote Biden, honestly, I would.
Well, yeah, because Trump would be ecstatic if people, don't actually vote Biden.
People not
Yeah.
last time may have been the balance of power, and certainly were in some areas
Of
for the
course it
reason
was.
why.
There's no
Right?
doubt whatsoever there was. Yeah.
I think on my list, the only person lower than Biden was Bloomberg.
yes.
Yeah.
So that's how I feel about Biden, but I will vote for Biden before
Tulsi
I vote
Gabbard.
for Trump.
Guys, right,
That's
if you were supporting any of the progressive candidates, right, Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, whoever, right, it's clear that the Democratic Party is holds you personally in contempt and does not give a shit about what you have to say and expects you will just fall in line and not give you anything, right? So it really is kind of a burn to vote for somebody who holds you in contempt and doesn't want to give you anything, says let you eat cake, right? I don't know. It infuriates me because I can see you are choosing pitchforks in your country, right? If this goes on, will be a revolution. It will be a violent one because people will be desperate. They will have no choice. And then we will end up with fascist loonies in charge for the next 10 years because that is how revolutions work. It never actually accomplishes its goal right away. There's always crazy, strong men who seize control of the country afterwards. Right? And, hey, I live like just a few miles north of you, man. I don't want to see it. Right? So get your shit together, okay?
You're really going to enjoy my series, Diane, because
Awesome. Totally awesome. Okay, now I'm going to go out and buy it as soon as we're done. I'm seriously doing it. This is an ebook. I'm going to...
All right. We're going to take one step back from the politics. One step more towards the science fiction and fantasy. No worries. No, this is the real and serious issues, no doubt.
Yes.
Courtney, why don't you tell us about some of the books that you've worked on? Now, you're an editor and a writer.
I am an editor. I'm kind of like an all-around, I do everything. I've got my own publishing house. I'm a writer. I do marketing services for authors. I just, like, pretty much anything that goes into publishing, I pretty much do it. I do typesetting, all of that stuff, so. Yeah, seriously, that's pretty much, like, that's what digs into most of my writing time is doing stuff for other writers, so. But mostly I've done I love short stories. I've got some bigger series that are coming out. Right now I'm working on a fairy tale retelling of Sleeping Beauty that kind of is more like I don't want to say like woman power, but it's a more empowered Sleeping Beauty who actually goes on to, fight the dark fairy and things like that. So she's not just laying down through most of the story, I also have a time travel series that I'm working on. I've already written a pretty big short story for that, probably more like a novella, and I'm kind of expanding that into a duology. But
I love the novellas.
Yes.
I gotta say, love the novellas.
They work, and I don't know. I feel like better just doing a short story for something, and then it kind of inspires me to write more on it later. Now that I've got like the groundwork down, I can expand it and turn it into something from on my own. But I'm also getting out there and other publications, and people are learning my name and stuff like that. But I do a lot of fantasy and sci-fi. I've dabbled a little bit in just like sweet romance for a couple of anthologies, but mostly I just do fantasy and sci-fi. I've done a couple of space opera things that I'm tying into my time travel series.
Well, that's cool.
Yes, I love space opera. A lot of like Firefly sort of stuff going on. I've got a blind mechanic on mine that I'm trying to do something with to tie it into my time travel series, which is kind of like it's almost like Pride and Prejudice, but kind of gender bent and time travel. So I'm kind of taking some threads from Pride and Prejudice and turning them into this kind of sci-fi world. I don't know. It's been pretty fun.
Sounds awesome.
Oh, that's cool.
As usual, working on a million things at once.
I don't know what to do if I'm not working on a million things at once.
I'm in the same boat. The second I have downtime, I'm sitting staring at the wall going, shouldn't I be doing something? Like, I feel like I have like 5 other things I should be doing. I just don't know what they are yet. I have to figure that out.
So say we all.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know Rachel's the same way.
Yes. Too many things in the pot.
So, Courtney, I met, a few years ago now, right?
Met. Been a while.
Yeah. Well, problem is I've decided that I hate Facebook. but Courtney,
Me too.
she, I met her through Sarah Berman, actually, who we had on the episode that disappeared because the audio did not turn out, right? And she got me involved in this little writers group, and Courtney was also part of the writers group. I don't know how it formed. It kind of formed before I got there, but it was really interesting because a bunch of us are all like, hybrid or independent writers who write in science fiction and fantasy and romance. That was the, like different people emphasize different elements of that, but we all did a little bit of everything there, I think. And, Courtney has been working really hard, right? Getting her independent business going. She's kind of like the quintessential indie writer because she does everything, right? I do believe that's your source of income, isn't it? Like your life hasn't changed at all, really, other than the kids underfoot, I imagine, since the pandemic, right? Because you were working from home anyway.
Right. I've been working from home for myself for about 5 years now. And I started out doing book covers and doing editing for Janae, actually, because she needed some help. And then I kind of turned it into my business. And I used to do voice acting on Fiverr for a while. And I still like to do that, but my kids are so loud I can't do it anymore. But I still do a few podcast things for Joe Compton every once in a while. I do the Indie Connection every week there. So I've got my hand in a lot of fires, or whatever the saying is, but I've got a lot of different things going on. I've got some YouTube stuff going on here. I got some Instagram stuff over here, and author builders and giveaways and all kinds of stuff.
Wow, that's awesome. That's amazing.
Thank you.
Well, how?
Which
Alan. Yeah,
go ahead, Diane.
That's fine. Oh, I was just going to ask, so how are you finding things since the pandemic? Are you finding it more difficult to get work done with the kids home and under your feet?
Well, my youngest has always home. He hasn't went to school yet. He goes next year. So he's like my hellion. He is the one who is always all over the place. He's trying to kill himself all the time, like jumping off of stuff, throwing stuff, knocking stuff over. So he's my wild child. My other child is in school. He's 9. He's in 3rd grade. And so we've been doing remote learning, and that has been more stressful than probably anything else because they keep changing it. Because first they send us packets, and then they send us like 6 different websites to get on every day, and now they're streamlining it more into 2, which is a little bit easier to manage. But I ended up giving him one of my old MacBooks, and I was like, here, this can be yours because I cannot share my computer with you this much. But he is actually on the autism spectrum, and he has like some sensory processing disorders, and he's actually probably thrived more at home than he does at school, I guess, because there's not so many distractions. So it's been good for him. I know he probably misses some of his friends, but we've been playing some games together online and stuff on the PlayStation, so he's still having fun. We're doing some backyard games and things like that. So it's not been too crazy. It has been a change, but the biggest change has probably been having my husband home all the time.
Oh, really? Yeah. I can commiserate. Yeah. He's like, I'm bored. I want to do things. You're like, I'm working. Right?
Yeah, but he's like, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? I was like, well, we have the backyard, or you can watch something on Netflix, or you can play a game because I've got to do all this work. Or I'm like, okay, get off the PlayStation. It's mine now.
That is so funny. My wife and I are working from home here. We're fortunate enough to both still have our jobs, but now we're working from home. Our oldest is doing school online, like you're saying, and then we've got the toddler who has not yet gone to school. So we're just like ripping our hair out, like, how am I supposed to do anything? Because neither of us can do school with the kid that's in school, and then neither of us can watch the toddler either. Because we're both trying to do our jobs at the same time, so it's just like, whatever. It's like total chaos.
That is one good thing, because he's a general contractor, and he can't really go out to people's homes and do stuff right now in the middle of this. So he is, I guess we're going to do the grant or whatever they have for those types of jobs or whatever, so he can still have income. But I pay for everything anyway. He doesn't contribute anything, so I pay for everything in the household. So nothing has changed for me as far as finances go, which is actually a kind of a blessing.
Silver linings.
Nice.
Silver linings, I guess, to some things. You're like, yeah, I hear you. Yeah. So we didn't ask Jay this question either. How has your life changed since the pandemic?
Well, it's the big difficulty for us is that, as I said, I'm in France currently. My wife and 3 kids are in Halifax, so that's a bit difficult for us, obviously. But I'm on the on Skype with them every morning doing homeschooling, bilingual. And, we're managing, we watch movies together, so for us it's more from that point of view. Obviously, financially it's also difficult because all the courts are actually closed, which obviously has an impact when you're a lawyer. But hopefully we'll carry on carry on with that as best possible, and but definitely, I don't think I've ever been as productive writing-wise as since COVID.
I guess if you got nothing else to do, right? Yeah.
It's yeah.
Would I be asking, being too personal here, if I asked, what stopped you from coming home? Did you not get a chance to get on a flight before they shut everything down, or
Yep.
was it that you were working?
You hit it on the nail right there.
Right.
Just the flights.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Completely shut down. So there you go. But writing-wise, I found myself writing a lot more early in the morning, which I had never done in my life. But it's great. It's great dynamic with a group of writers on Twitter, including Derek Kunskin. Every morning, we meet up and we're writing at at the wee hours of the morning, writing or editing. Because right now I'm editing my current manuscript. Revising, and it's just super productive. To get, back a couple of weeks ago when I was still drafting, to get 1,000 words in the morning, or to get a chapter revised in the morning as well. It's made such a huge difference. Normally I write late in the day, sort of after the work day, and it's a lot of venting for me, and I still do that. But also then to add this one super early in the morning, it's been working out really well for me.
Well, there's a silver lining, I suppose. I imagine it would be really hard, though, to be in that position. You have my deep sympathy that, it has caused separation in your family. That's rough.
Well, yeah, writing has always helped keep me sane, or, as close approximation thereof. So, yeah.
So I gotta say, the first few days were probably like, oh, thank God, I get some time to myself.
You get over that pretty fast.
I'm sure.
Yeah, I can imagine. But okay, so we got one question that we ask all of our guests before we wrap everything up, and that is, what gives you hope in this time? So, what order should we do these in? Courtney, do you want to go first?
I'm trying to think what I could even say right now. So maybe
okay, well,
that's the time.
We'll do Jay first.
Well, I suppose, even though I completely agree with what Dan was saying earlier about having to be very vigilant about the long-term consequences on our institutions and our civil rights, but the fact that around the world, generally, populations, and particularly when governments have got their ish in order fast enough, populations have been able to to follow instructions, to stay at home when they're in a position, or lucky enough to be part of the people staying at home, to limit contagion. That is not something I would have bet on necessarily. So that's hopeful.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with you completely. It seems that the majority of people out there are doing their bit, like they used to say in the World Wars, right? They're doing their bit.
Yeah.
And that is really awesome to see.
Yeah. And the norm is you follow the rules, you stay at home. And then there are people who will, like going to church at Easter or whatever, who will, defy that. And they are seen as defying the norm. So that's something, at least, right?
I agree. That's a big deal,
Absolutely.
actually.
Absolutely.
All right.
All right, Courtney,
Okay.
you can't put it off anymore.
Mine's going to be kind of two-part, I guess. What gives me hope personally right now is that one day all of this is going to be over. I mean, we've had, maybe not quite like this, but we've had disasters in the past. There was like the Spanish flu and different plagues and all that stuff. And the human race has always persevered through it. And so that means one day I will get to go hug my dad. I'm a daddy's girl. I see him once a week, every week. And on every Friday we go over there and have dinner, and he spends time with the kids and things like that. And my sister comes over. So it's kind of a big family thing for us. And So that means, when this is over, I'll get to see my dad again, and I'll get to hug him and talk to him, and that kind of gives me hope that, one day it's going to be fine. I can hug him and I'll feel a lot better once that happens. That's personally, but on more of a wide spectrum, it's nice to see that people are taking care of each other. A lot of times everyone's so busy and they kind of gloss over, the elderly or different people that are more high risk. And I've seen a lot of people, going shopping for the elderly or, checking in on them, making sure they have what they need. There's people donating things to shelters. It feels like everybody is being more generous right now than they normally are. And so that's hopeful that maybe we can continue this after all this is over.
Let's hope, eh?
Yeah. I gotta say, just as an aside, I love how every single guest we've ever had on has had a completely different answer.
That is lovely. Yeah.
It's great.
So much there that is good in the world, right? Like, and we're learning a little bit more about it every time, right? Because everybody's got their own thing that they've noticed. Which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
Since we're close to time here,
right, folks.
Where do we find you online, guys? And, what can we look forward to in the near future? Just kind of your most immediate next project and where people can find you online.
Any particular order?
No, go for it. You spoke first.
Okay, thank you. So again, I'm just to remind people, I'm JRH Lawless. You can find me on Twitter at SpaceLawyerSF. And so Always Bruno, my debut, is out now just recently. The ebook is currently on sale for less than $1 or whatever your local currency is. It's very cheap, so definitely go for it. Not much to lose there. And the sequel is coming out this fall as well from Upper Books. The Rudolph Rebellion, the audiobook for both of them, is in production currently from Tantor Books. And plenty of other things, short stories as well. Got one that just came out with awesome small East Coast press here called Engine Books. That's in Pulp from the Rock, sorry. So definitely go check that out as well if you get the chance, if you're more into short fiction anthologies. And follow on Twitter and Facebook as well, SpaceLawyerSF, for more info.
Thank you for that. And I'm just going to throw in a quick aside here I meant to mention earlier. While we're in the vein of science fiction humor and fantasy humor, there is a guy that I have been talking to on World Anvil in the community there. His name is Jamie Buckley, right? I think it's Buckley. Yeah. He's done a comic called Wanted Hero, right? As in Wanted Hero. Right, and he's put all of his web comics up for free right now. You can find that at worldanvil.com/w/wantedhero. Right, and I told him I would plug it on the show because I think it's hilarious and to check it out. It's also Pratchett inspired, so I think you'd get along with him there, Jay.
I'm opening it right now.
All right, I'm writing it down. All
right, and Courtney, your turn.
I am Courtney Cannon, a.k.a. CL Cannon. You can find me on clcannon.net, or you can find all of the Fiction Atlas anthologies on fiction-atlas.com. I am on social media pretty much everywhere as CL Cannon author, but you can also find me on Instagram under CL_Cannon because everything else was taken. And I have a fairy tale retelling of Sleeping Beauty called In the Kingdom of Dreams that will be out in the anthology Once Upon a Fairy Tale Night in August. You can pre-order that for 99 cents right now. And then once I get the rights back to that, it's actually going to become a duology. And I've got an amazing cover that I'm going to be revealing in about another month from Story Wrappers. It's a really, really nice cover. I'm really excited. It's probably the best one I've ever gotten before. So I'm excited to do that. Yes, I love it.
Don't you hate when you have a project done a month ahead of time and you have to sit and wait and wait?
Well, you're lucky if it's a month.
That's
very lucky if it's just a month.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly. I mean, when we first started this podcast, it was August, I think, of 2019, and we didn't have a first episode come out until January, I think, or February.
Yep.
Yeah. It was...
Patience is a virtue.
Things come together. Well, thank you guys so much for being on the show, and I'm so sorry for all the technical issues today. You guys were so patient and so adaptable, and I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. But before we go, we have one last thing.
Giveaways.
Diane. The giveaways. So, this is how giveaways work on the Quarantine Club episodes, okay? What you do, you have to put in the little Twitter feed there, or send it to me on Twitter, put it on our Facebook page, or you can email me at, what is my email address?
That might be important for people to know.
I think it's...
Maybe.
You think? Do you think I should know?
Oh, hell, I don't remember half the, I don't remember my own phone number, so it's okay. We have a phone, we don't have to remember.
Okay, well, it is, let's see, I think it's, ITGO, Don't Panic. I'll look that up while I'm talking about these books. I can't believe I can't remember my own
But anyway,
address.
the point is, right, you get a hold of us on any of our social media, on the Twitch feed, right, or on our Discord, right, and you nominate somebody, right, somebody who enjoys science fiction and fantasy, who you think needs something to cheer them up or give them hope in this time, right, and you tell us why they deserve the books, and then if we get enough entries, we draw randomly, and somebody gets the books. That's how.
And this week, the giveaway is Sunspot Jungle Volume 1 and Volume 2 by Rosarium Publishing. And I will tell you, these are both massive. There's probably, 75 authors in each one, including people like Charlie Jane Anders, N.K. Jemisin, Jeffrey Ford, speaking of satire, Sarah Pinsker is in here. Who else we have? Nick Mamadis, Cameron Maria Machado, which if you're not reading her, I don't even know what to tell you. You've lost your way in life. Tananarive Dew is in here. Tobias Buckell, Brooke Bolander. I could go on probably for an hour reading all the fantastic authors in here. So these are fantastic books. Put your name in there for somebody who's having a rough time and likes the short fiction, and we will send them these 2 awesome books. And speaking of that, our first giveaway is about to go out in the mail as soon as my wife goes and gets groceries.
Awesome.
And so put that on in our Twitter feed. You can put that in our Twitch right now. You can put that on our Facebook, and our email address is itgodon'tpanic@gmail.com. So that's itgodon'tpanic@gmail.com. So any of those ways, send it to us. We will collect them in the next week, and then the following week we will announce it here. And
we have a WordPress blog too. Right. That's also fine. itgodp.wordpress.com. Put it in the comments in any of the posts. Yep. I'll see it. So, if you're not sure how, there's many ways, and we'd really love to hear from you. We want to give away these books. These publishers were really generous in donating this stuff, and it's awesome stuff. It's worth it. So, yeah, get a hold of us.
Yep, absolutely. And if you're getting all that sweet, sweet government money and you've got nothing to do with it, you should probably think of donating it to somebody who deserves it. But if you really want to support us...
we have a Patreon!
We do have a Patreon, yes. Patreon.com/ifthisgoeson. We'd appreciate anything that you're able to contribute. We have multiple tiers. If you go over there, you can check that out. We have a Discord server that's kind of just getting off the ground, finding its legs. We have a tier where you can sponsor other people to come on to our Discord and other tiers. And I don't know. Go check it out. It's pretty cool. So I guess that wraps it up here. I'm going to do some credits real quick, and we can all say goodbye.
Thanks again, guys.
If this goes on, don't pay.
Oh, I was just thanking our authors again for coming on.
It's 100% our pleasure.
Yes, definitely.
Yes, of course. Thank you. That's in the credits here, too. If This Goes On, Don't Panic is edited by Alan Bailey with production by Sound Maiden, who's Rachel. Our music is by Father Flamethrower, and additional music is by Christopher Snydrowski and some mysterious person named
I wonder who that
is. Intro by Dave Robinson. Another thank you to our wonderful guests, C.L. Cannon and JRH Lawless. Check them out. Buy their stuff. They deserve it. And thanks for supporting us, and we'll see you all again soon.
Have a great afternoon, everybody. Or evening. Or morning, depending on where you are.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Thanks again.
Are we off, folks? Are live? We're good?
Bye.